Hi, welcome to my video on the relationship among trig functions, and this video is going to be on cofunctions. Cofunctions. Cofunctions, I relate cofunctions to complementary functions. That is, the sum of the angles is 90 degrees. So complementary, think of C, O, so complementary, adding up to 90. So let's use a unit circle whose radius is 1, and let's draw a right triangle in first quadrant. So this rotation here is theta, sorry about that, is theta from here to here. So the central angle is theta. So drop a perpendicular from this point down here. That means if this is a right angle and this is theta, this angle here must be 90 minus theta, because the two of these angles are complementary. So let's take an example. If this angle is 70, this angle is 90 minus 70, which is 20. This angle is 60. This angle is 90 minus 60, 30. So 60, 30, 70, 20 are complementary to each other. So, and the hypotenuse of this triangle is on the unit circle whose radius is 1. So this is the x from the center here on the triangle, and this is the y. So if we look at these relations in this triangle, the sine of 90 minus theta, so this is 90 minus theta right here. So the sine of this angle is opposite over hypotenuse. So that's x over 1. So in relation to theta, to get x over 1, I must have adjacent. So I must do the cos of theta to get the x over 1. Because in terms of theta, cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the sine of 90 minus theta is the cos of theta. And what about the cos of 90 minus theta? So here's 90 minus theta. The cos is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So that's y over 1. So in relation to theta, that y is opposite over hypotenuse. So this must be the sine. The sine of theta is the y over the 1. So again, 90 minus theta, sine is cos, and the cos of 90 minus theta is the sine. So there's sine and cos are the cofunctions to each other, giving you, so you can see that the sine of theta will be equal to their cofunctions. So think about it. The sine, if you took an angle here, the sine of 30 would be y over 1, and the cos of 60 would be y over 1. So their sine and cos are cofunctions of each other. Let's look at tan. The tan of 90 minus theta. Tan is opposite 90 minus theta here. Opposite is x over adjacent, which is y. So if the tan of 90 minus theta in relation to theta, this must be cot, because cot of theta is the adjacent over the opposite. So the tan of 90 minus theta is the same as the cot of theta. And what about cot? The cot of 90 minus theta, cot is the adjacent, which is the y over the x. Cot of 90 minus theta is the adjacent over the opposite. So therefore, the cot is related, is equal to the tan of theta, because the tan is opposite over adjacent, which is the y over the x. So tan and cot are cofunctions. The tan and cot are cofunctions of each other. So sine and cos are cofunctions, tan and cot are cofunctions. So 90 minus theta and theta, tan and cot are cofunctions. What about secant? secant of 90 minus theta. 90 minus theta is here. So secant is hypotenuse, which is 1 over opposite, which is the x. 90 secant is opposite over adjacent. Opposite. Secant is the reciprocal of cos. So secant is 1 over cos. So 90 minus x, it's 1 over the y. So that's cosecant. Is going to give you, in terms of theta, cosecant is opposite. It's 1 over the opposite, 1 over the sine. So secant and cosecant. So in terms of 90 minus theta again, a secant is 1 over the adjacent, and cosecant is, in terms of here, is 1 over the opposite. So secant and cosecant are cofunctions. And if you take the cosecant of here, cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, so it's 1 over the opposite. So this is 1 over x. And that's going to be the secant of theta, which is hypotenuse over adjacent, which is the x. So secant and cosecant are cofunctions of each other. So let's look at that example to illustrate that further with some angles that we know about. So notice cofunctions. Again, I want to go back to that again. Notice, just make sure you got a sine, you have a cos. When you have 90 minus theta, you have sine, cos, cos, sine. They're cofunctions. When you have, again, 90 minus theta, you have tan and cot. And when you have 90 minus theta, you have secant and cosecant, or cosecant and secant in terms of 90. So when you reflect or move through a 90, then you're going to change sine to cosine, tan to cot, secant to cosecant. And to illustrate that, let's look at the sine of 30 in relation to the cos of 90 minus 30. So let's take a circle which has a radius of 2, and we'll do a rotation of 30. Drop a perpendicular. So this is 30 here, so the central angle is 30. This is a 60, this is 1, and this is root 3 in the special right triangle. The hypotenuse of 2. So the sine of 30 is, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, 1 over 2. Now, the cos of 90 minus 30 is the same as the cos of 60. And the cos of 60, 60 is here, cos is the adjacent, which is 1 over the hypotenuse is 2. So notice that the cos of 90 minus theta is the sine of theta. So this is a 60, this is a 30. So they're complementary angles. So these are complementary angles. So whatever this angle is, then this is the complement of it. So the cos of this angle is the sine of its complement. And what about a 60-degree rotation? 60-degree rotation is right here. And we draw a terminal arm. We make this hypotenuse of this triangle, or this circle 2, drop a perpendicular. 60 rotation here. Central angle is 60. This angle is 30, 90. Opposite 30 is a 1. Opposite 60 is a root 3. So tan is tan of 60. Tan is opposite, which is root 3, over adjacent, which is 1. So that's a root 3. So the cot of 90 minus 60. So the cot of 90 minus 60 is the same as the cot of 30. And the cot of, here's 30. So the cot of 30 is, cot is adjacent over opposite. So that's adjacent in relation to 30. Adjacent is root 3. Opposite is 1. So that's a root 3. So notice they're equal. So that means the cot, again, of 90 is 90 degrees minus theta is equal to the tan of theta. So notice 60 and 30 are complementary. So the tan of 60 is the cot of 30. So they're complements to each other. And again, sine and cos are complementary angles. So these angles are complementary. 90 minus theta and theta add up to 90. So the sine of 90 minus theta is, the cos of 90 minus theta is the sine of theta. And again, going through 90 minus theta, complementary. So sine gives you cos, a tan gives you cot, and cosecant gives you secant when you have 90 minus theta in relation to the angle theta. Hopefully you understand that, and if you do, and you like it, click the like button, click the subscribe button, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. The content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained, just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.